I'm honoured to bring you Alan Chalk's intimate and beautiful recollection of his wartime childhood in Wiltshire. You'll hear Alan talk about wartime food, kale, stinging nettles and bananas, the importance of ferrets, manoeuvres in the village, coming across a crashed Nazi fighter plane, and his life after the war ended.
It's a pleasure to talk. I love talking anyway, so it's not hard for me to talk about years ago. During the war, being brought up during the war, with a big family, there was 5 boys, and mother and father living in an old bungalow at the back of the farm, Chalkpit Farm. No electric, no water laid on. We had a tap outside the back door. No toilets, only up in the garden. And it was hard all during the war. And that's why I like to talk about it, because people don't realise how people lived along that time. My day, I was at school then, mostly during the war. I spent all the war at school until about 45, and the war finished at 45. Yeah. But I started work before the war finished. But just walking to school, we walked to school. It was quite a way from the other side of the village, right to school and back. And we used to walk back to lunch and back again. And in our clothes, was all passed down clothes, you know, because I was the second oldest and I never had nothing new. My elder brother had everything new, as what happened in all families. And I remember one time someone gave me a coat, and the coats always come down to the knee, always, because that's kept you warm. And I was walking home one day and it was pouring with rain, and so I got home and all we had was kitchen range, and you could see the fire, and I hung the coat up close to the fire, didn't I? Kitchen range, and scorched it in the back, quite a big scorch. And Granny was living with us at the time, and she said, I'll repair that for you, I'll put a patch on there. So she couldn't find enough to put one patch, so she had to put 2 patches on this blue coat, grey material on a blue coat. But those days, you know, you put up with that, and I went to school, back to school with this big patch, or patches on my coat, proud as a louse. And I thought a word of it. But nowadays, people wouldn't do that now. They wouldn't do that now. Yeah, to me, it was a very hard time. All through the war, you know. What? The food wasn't much food. We used to go out in the fields and pick the tops of cow, swedes and things like that, you know, to eat. I know Mother said once, I haven't got any green stuff, Alan, you know, and I was about 12 years old, and I'd already heard that somebody said, we'll go out and pick some tops of the stinging nettles and cook them. So I went out and picked these stinging nettles and took them in and cooked them up, and they were delicious. And, you know, we done things like that. During Christmas, Christmas wasn't like, we had 6 years Christmas, and that was very hard at Christmas because there wasn't much to have, you know. We used to have a cockerel, always kept a cockerel, because we had chicken in the garden, and we always kept an old cockerel, and that was our That was our lunch, Christmas lunch. Was this old cockroach. You know, there wasn't much meat on it, you know, but that's all we had. And things was very hard. People didn't realise now how hard it was during the war. We were living in this old bungalow. There was 4 boys to start with, and the one was born in the war. Granny was living with. We were only at 3 bedrooms. Granny was living with us as well. We had an evacuee come down from London, one of our cousins, and she was a little girl, so she lived in the bedroom with Granny. Mother and father in another bedroom, and it's the youngest child, and four boys in the other bedroom, and that's how we lived all through the war. And we got on well. You know, there's no arguments. There was 4 of us boys. Dennis, he was the eldest one. He used to always sleep with Ronald. Ronald was the middle one, and I was the second one, Alan, and I slept with brother John. And we never had big double beds. We had what they call 3/4 beds. Yeah, and never fought. No, it was a very happy family, you know. Mother and father they were quite young, really, because I think mother, when Dennis was born, I think she was about 18.
Wow.
And she was about 19 when I was born. So, and father was just a year older than what she was. So they were a very young family. Yeah.
When you went back at lunchtime from school, what type of food did you eat at lunchtime?
Yeah, we just ate what there was. There was a bakehouse in the village, you know, and you could get a bit of bread quite easily. Go down to the bakehouse and say, "Please, can I have a loaf?" You know, and we got plenty of cheese because father was working on the land, and the land workers had extra cheese, which was a good thing, you know. And anything that was about, you know, you just ate anything. You never said, "Oh, I don't like that," because you ate with what was there.
Did you get any meat apart from the cocktails?
Rabbits.
Oh.
We lived on rabbits. Yes. And I think everyone else lived on rabbits up round the farm. There was lots of rabbits about. I know father, we had 2 ferrets. Everyone had a few ferrets. And he used to go ferreting. He was dairyman, so he used to work 7 days a week, really, you know, but on Saturdays, lunchtime, he always used to go and catch a few rabbits. And with one ferret, he used to get lost. He always got down in the barry and wouldn't come out. And so he used to say to me, "Alan, you go up, sit by the hole where I've left the bag, and wait for that ferret to come out." So I had to go and sit there all the afternoon waiting for a ferret to come out. Yeah, we used to do things like that. There's one thing during the war, there wasn't a banana. No one seen a banana during the war. For 6 years, we didn't see a banana. And be children, you know, and when bananas come, we couldn't believe what they were, you know. And there wasn't an ice cream, not an ice cream during the war. Not one ice cream. And that was 6 years. And that was a long time. You know, I know not long ago, the Prime Minister, it wasn't very many years ago, like 2 years ago perhaps, and he said they were going to lock down, they were going to open up the lock for so many days.
Oh.
And that annoyed me because I thought to myself, here we are, we were locked down because COVID. And he said people wouldn't like if they had to go 5 days over Christmas, shut down. And we went 6 years shut down. So, things like that do annoy me anyway. If I hadn't went through it myself, I'm one that don't like to talk about what someone else has told me. I like to talk about what I've done myself.
What other things have you done that you really enjoy talking about?
Playing football. I played football for Broadchalk for 15 years.
What position?
It's in the Salisbury District League.
Yeah.
Those days there was a football team in every village. Every village. There was a cricket team in every village. And we played tennis. We had grass tennis court. And things like that. And in the village hall had a billiard table and things like that. And we all went there in the evenings and done things like that, We made our own enjoyment, But nowadays they can't seem to do that because they don't need to do that. But we didn't have nothing else.
Did you used to go for walks in the countryside and things like that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Was that a daily thing or a... Because you walk every day.
Oh, yeah, I walk every day. I used to walk then a lot. Love walking.
What?
I can remember going back during the war when the manoeuvres was about in the village, there's soldiers, they were manoeuvring all around the villages and that. And so, as lads, there was about 3 or 4 of us, we said, oh, let's go on with manoeuvre. So we all had everyone had a trolley, pram wheels in a box on it, and some shafts, to put. So we started off, and we went all up to nearly up to 5 foot, I think we were. And so we cut across the Bower Chalk and down, and we got in trouble because when we got home, we'd been lost, you see, during the war. And that was a bad thing to be out. And we got told off because we'd done our little walk right up round, And our mothers, they went mad because we were out away from home because you didn't walk much then. You're always told to keep in groups in case an aeroplane come over, because they were always told that if an aeroplane comes in, especially if it's a smaller one, jump under the bushes, go anywhere out of sight. Rest they machine gun at you, things like that. Yeah.
So you lived with a threat from the sky?
Yeah.
When did you feel that threat had gone, when you were walking in the landscape?
Well, after VE Day.
Right.
That lifted it. VE Day, I can remember it well. It was announced that the war was over in Europe. And so I know the farmer said, right, we'll have the day off. And so they arranged some races in all sorts of things up in one of the fields up in Jesus there. Invited the village up. Some of the people of the village managed to make a cake or got some bread. There wasn't much butter about then, but they got enough to have a few sandwiches and a few cakes, and everybody enjoyed themselves, and sang and danced, and then the farmer just along the road from here, he had an old straw rick, and he said, you can have that straw rick with a light of fire, because no one was allowed to fire during the war. You didn't allow it, especially at night.
Because it would attract the...
Yeah. So we went up there, and Jeans, he supplied 2 tractors and trailers, and took all the people from the village up this straw rick, and we lit the straw rick up there and danced round the straw rick over the evening. VE Day. things like that sticks in your mind.
And then was it, I suppose that celebration helped you kind of accept that the war was over?
Oh, it lifted it.
It did it?
Yeah, the weight seemed to come off your shoulders, and you could do anything. You could, you could please yourself. Other than that, you couldn't, because if you went somewhere, you always thought there may be someone come through the hedge after you. Always, because there was aeroplanes come down, and then some of them got out of it and started hiding in the bushes and all round about. Yeah, all things like that was going on. I can remember one aeroplane, and this was during the war. German aeroplane came down, fighter, up at 5 foot above and just up the road from here. And if any of the boys heard there was something about, we were on our bicycles in there. And so we raced up there before the security got there on our bicycles, about 4 of us. And we walked in where this plane just crashed in it's still smouldering and that. And there was body everywhere. But that didn't frighten us because it was German or Nazi. Mustn't say German, Nazi. And it didn't frighten us, And we tried to find some souvenirs. That's what we were after, souvenirs. And all we were after was some perspex. The windscreen. Very thick perspex that was. And what we used to do, we'd make rings, burn a hole, have a little jigsaw and cut it out and file it all down like a ring, and leave a little notch for the top and give it to your girlfriend. and I heard someone say, if anyone had one now, they're worth a lot of money, but that's what we used to do.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm very struck by that concept of sort of like threat in the landscape. That really, for me, that really brings it home, because you were scared from the air and you were scared from the hedges.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then your mum was scared too.
That's right.
Yeah?
Very scared.
So you were all scared.
Yeah. I can remember my mum, she was very scared. We were living in the bungalow at the back of the farm, and we could look across to Southampton, and they had blitz then, there, terrible blitz, quite early on too.
Yeah. Because of the port, I suppose.
Yeah. And we could see the sky was red. You could hear the bombs. You could see the sky red. And Father was down the pub, and Mother said, Alan, she said, would I go down the pub with her? I was only about 12-year-old, I think, 11 or 12 perhaps. And she left Dennis, the older one, to stay with the other boys. And we walked down the pub. She said, I can't stay here on my own. She said, we got to go and get Dad. So we walked down. We couldn't see a thing because no one had a light. Not even a light with somebody's window. You had to black that out. That was one thing you had to do, was black your windows out with blankets. And so we walked down, looking up at the hedgerow to see where the road was. Got down to the pub, listened outside, and she could hear him in there. So I can hear him in there, she said. Go in, Alan, and tell him. Sent me in, she wouldn't go in, because women didn't go in the pubs then. So I went in, seen the landlady, and I said, could you tell Dad that we want him home quickly? So he come straight out, you know, and walked home with us. And that was very frightening, you know, going down in the middle, well, when in the middle of the night, it's about 8, 9 o'clock at night, seeing these flashes down to Southampton and hearing the bombs going. Very frightening.
Very close.
Mm.
And they had that big munitions factory at Chilmark, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was police all round there all the time.
So that must have been a target.
Oh, they never got it, did they?
No, they never did.
The searchlight was just on the top of the hill there, and right up there, up on the top. And that's the only bombs we had in Broadchalk. It was 3 bombs. They tried to get the searchlight, but they missed the searchlight. They hit the electric wires. It runs along there now, and cut those wires off, those electric wires. And that's the only 3 bombs that dropped.
Wow.
In this area.
Oh. It's so much to think about, isn't it, Alan?
Yeah. I started work just before the war finished. And I'll tell you my wage, then I was working from 7 in the morning to 5 at night. And Saturdays we worked from 7 to 12. And my wage was £1.04 a week. That's what I had to. But I had to give Mother some, because that's what you had to do. You had to go to work, earn some money, and pay your keep. And I used to give Mother 10 shillings. And the 10 shillings was mine. And the 4 shillings went to Williams's Club, I think it was. We went Williams's Club that used to do the clothes and things like that. And that's how we used to use it. And then after the war finished, then it was very hard, because it was rationing kept on until I think somewhere about 54, I think, somewhere about then. And
so long.
Rationing, yeah, was, and petrol was rationed and all things like that, you know. But then you were earning a little bit more. And when I was 16, I got the photo over on the thing over on the wall now. I played in a ploughing match at Britford, and I was ploughing in the tractor class, but there was horses ploughing by the side of me, and we were all entered, you know, in this ploughing match. And then they gave the prizes out at the end of the ploughing match, and the tractor class, I won first prize. And then they always said who was the champion ploughman of the day. And I was the champion ploughman of the day. And I beat the horses on that day. And I'm a horse ploughing was marvellous. And yeah.
And you were only 16?
I was 16. Yeah.
Did that have an impact on your life?
I think it did.
How?
I think it did, because it made me feel better, bigger. Because I was always at home. Dennis, my brother, he was quite a clever boy, and he could do anything, you know. And I was one that didn't learn very much. And I remember Father calling me. He said, Dennis got the brains, he said, and you're not much good at all, you know. And that hurt.
Yeah.
But when I won that, you know, I was one of the brighter ones, you know. Yeah.
Because a lot of people were ploughing, weren't they?
Yeah.
It's not like today, is it?
Oh no.
Then it was a big deal, wasn't it?
Yeah. I went to another plough match about a week after that one, and I won a first prize. And that's that big thing out on the wall there now, a big certificate from Ramson's and Jeffries. I had presented to me, and I won first prize there. And then just after that, I went to a plough match, and it said, no one was there with a camera, so I got a paper cutting of it, that's all. And it said 67, try their hand at ploughing. 67. A big ploughing match down at Warminster.
Oh.
And I won, in my class I won first prize, and then we all wait for the champion to be announced, and I was champion ploughman of 66, because I was one of them. Out of 67 ploughmen, I won the championship.
Amazing. And you must have been one of the younger.
Yes, yeah. I think I was then in late teens then in that one. Yeah. We lived no electric in the bungalow, no water. We had a tap outside, and that come from the farm water. And the toilet was up in the garden, about 20 metres walk to get to the toilet up in the garden. And when you had to come home, you bring the log, you saw it up, you take it indoors, and then somebody would say, oh, the bucket wants emptying. So out you'd go, dig a hole in the garden, go and empty the bucket. It was in the toilet. Fill it all in. Clean the bucket up. Wash it out. Disinfect it in the bucket. Put the bucket back and go back in. And then that was tea. And then everyone had to do that. Everyone. I done it myself. I lived over the road from here, and we had a toilet in the woodshed then. We'd gone up a notch then. We had a toilet in the woodshed, but you had to empty it in the garden. Done it myself with my wife, and we had one boy at the time then. Yeah, and people won't believe, they don't think it ever happened. These things.
I find it really difficult to visualise that as a reality. Yeah. What other things are there that for you are really different?
Gardening.
How come?
Well, because you had to grow enough vegetables to last a 12 months. And you had to make sure you had the right seeds in. They come at the right time. And with potatoes, you had to grow enough potatoes to last a 12 months. And that's why all the allotments over in the village now, that they're grown over now, most of them. But then everyone was taken. Every allotment was taken. In this village there was 6 allotments plots. And every allotment was taken. There was a waiting list for allotments then. Because that was life. To grow enough vegetables, we used to try to grow 500 weight of potatoes to last a 12 month. Now you just go to the supermarket, and what annoys me, they put a date on there to say what, and that annoyed, because our potatoes was kept in the hessian bag, always hessian, in a hessian bag, in the woodshed, covered it with straw so they didn't get frosted. And that's a different thing now, frost. Because those days we used to get 2 inches of frost on the water troughs, 2 inches of a night. Now we don't get frost, not very often.
No.
Much different.
So when you were gardening, I mean, that's such a large amount of potatoes, Alan, isn't it?
Yeah, everything had to be dug with a fork. Everything. There was no machines then.
What else did you plant?
Everything you needed. Carrots, swedes, parsnips, everything. Green stuff. Nowadays they get rabbit trouble up the allotments I know now. But there was no rabbits in the allotment then because there were so many people catching rabbits. And pigeons, we didn't get pigeon trouble like they do now. They get pigeon trouble terrible now, but those days you didn't seem to get pigeon trouble. Brussels sprouts, we used to, Christmas you had to have your Brussels sprouts and you had to get them in the right. Everybody knew exactly when to plant the seeds so that you had the right thing at the right time.
So was there quite a community down on the allotments?
Oh yeah. Oh, it was you go up through that allotment and there may be 20, 30 people up there digging, talking, you know, and it was good. It was great. I walk through there now. Some mornings, or most mornings, I walk up through there, and it annoys me because these allotments are all grown over, and they were beautiful. There wasn't a weed nowhere. The grass was cut with a hook, not with a mower. Yeah. All cut with a hook, and yeah, much different. It do annoy me to see them like they are.
When do you think you started feeling because you seem very comfortable in the landscape. You seem very comfortable.
Well,
on the land.
Yeah, because I was one of those that never felt. I mean, a lot of people used to say, "Oh, I got a dog today," or somebody's on my shoulders, you know, and I just don't feel like doing anything. Never felt like that. Never. If they told me to do a job, I would do it. Didn't matter what it was. I always enjoyed doing it. And that's why I think I got on so well. Because if you were one of the better workers, you always got the better job. You knew that. There were so many on the farm waiting to take the better jobs. But if you were good enough and showed you were good enough, then you got the better jobs. And I always got the better jobs. They always used to say to me, "How can you get these jobs? Why do you get these jobs?" You know, I used to say, "Well, do them properly and you'll get the jobs."
And then also your ploughing, you obviously like had a knack for it all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, didn't you? You had a knack for it. You had an understanding.
Yeah, you just had it in you. It had to be perfect. Everything had to be perfect. And I've worked like that all my life. Everything I do now, I do things now, and it always got to be perfect. I still do I do all my own garden now.
I've seen your garden. Do you remember showing it to me?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. There's not much then there's growing now, but it's quite tidy.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you can see in it the habit of a lifetime of sustenance from the land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I started courting my wife. There she is there. And she was brought up ready to grow anyway, so.
When did you first see her? I mean, in that sense.
First I seen her was at school. She came at the same school with me, but she was a class higher than me.
But when did you first see her as someone?
When I was about 16, I think. Yeah.
Can you remember where you were?
No, I think I was very friendly with her brother. Her brother was exactly the same age as I was. Oh. Exactly. Yeah. Within a few days. And I used to go to their place a lot. You know, meet up with her brother. And she went away for a few years as a cook. in big houses, and then she came back to Broadchalk. It is like a housekeeper to a school mistress, and that's when I think she came back 40, might have been 46 or something like that. And I won the ploughing match in 47, and I think I was just about going with her then. So, yeah, you were all my life, really. No, right from I was 5 years old when I came to Broadchalk, and she was born up at Hut Lodge, and that's right on top of the hill from between Broadchalk and Martin. She was born up there, and they came down into the village exactly about the same time as we came to Broadchalk. So, and we met from then on, and we married for 66 years. Yeah.
How lovely, Alan. Oh. And you lived in this house?
Yes, this house. We lived other side the road for 20 years. That was Jean's house.
Yeah.
And this was left to Kay, my wife. Some old people that she looked after. She looked after for years, and he left her the house.
Oh.
And the electric was here. There's no water. There was a pump. The pump is still out there now. And I done most of it myself. We made it into a decent house, and bigger house. We built on a little bit. I built on twice anyway. I built a kitchen on, and in the kitchen, that was the yard where the kitchen is now. And I done most of it myself. One of my brothers helped quite a bit, but yeah.
How wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really homely, and it's got so much evidence of your life, hasn't it, Alan?
Yeah.
You can really see you've had a full
I think we've
life.
been here now for 49 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like that. Well, Alan, thank you so much for talking to me. It's honestly been amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.